Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be able to share this restorative practice with you. Um, it is such a beautiful way to connect to the moment you're in, to the breath, to the body, bringing your awareness to different parts of your body that may be holding into any tension, especially right now with all the uncertainty in our world. And I'm very grateful to be sharing it with you. And one thing I've been talking about this week in my Dharma talks is letting go of the past and accepting the past for what it was. So that's something that I feel is something that I need to work on, because a lot of times I always think, as many of us do, that um, I could have done things differently, or I wish I could have done things differently. But I'm actually really grateful that I am exactly where I am, because I know that all the things that have happened in my past have led me to exactly where I am in this moment. And that is a really beautiful thing and something I'm eternally grateful for. So I just wanted to share that with you. Our first pose, you're going to need today in your practice, if you need to pause to go get anything, if you have a bolster, maybe if you don't have a bolster, grab a pillow or two, depending on the thickness of the pillow. You might need two instead of one bolster. If you have blocks, great. If you don't, it's not necessary either. And then if you have a blanket, grab that as well. We're going to be using this a little bit later in the class. So our first pose today is Supta Baddha Konasana. So you're going to lie back. You're going to bring your lower back about an inch away from the bolster. Bring your heels together, your soles of your feet together. And you can make sort of like a diamond shape with your legs. So your heels aren't super close into you. I want them to be comfortable because we're going to be in this pose for a while. So your heels can be a little bit further away from you. And then when you're ready, start to lower yourself back on to the bolster. And sometimes you need to readjust a little bit once you lay down. So feel free to adjust. We're going to be here for a little while. So I want you to be comfortable in the position that you're in. So be honest with yourself if you feel like this isn't working. Another alternative, if you have tight hip flexors like I do, you can extend both legs out and then just release them out to the side. So let the toes open up to the side. Let the kneecaps roll out to the side. So your legs aren't gripping or holding on to any tension. The muscles aren't engaged. You're just letting yourself be fully released onto the mat without holding on to any tension or any anxiety about where you are, just letting yourself be exactly where you are. Bring your awareness to the top of your head, the crown of your head. See if you can soften a little bit in your forehead, in your brows, in your face, in your jaw, your neck, your shoulders as they drape down even more on either side of the bolster. Let your back feel supported into the bolster. Let your hips feel heavy into the mat. Let your legs feel grounded and the bones feel heavy. Let yourself be accepting of exactly the moment that you're in. Breathe in fully Breathe out fully and see if you can release something that's no longer serving you. A few more deep breaths like that. Deep, full breath in. Exhale out the mouth. One more deep, full breath in. Exhale out the mouth. Let it go. And then just let your breath flow freely without trying to make it shorter or longer, just letting it be exactly as it is. If your mind starts to wander, that's okay. Just let your thoughts run in and out of your mind without attaching to them, without holding on to them, just letting them be, knowing that the thoughts are just going to be there, accepting that, being okay with it. Start to bring your awareness back into your breath. Start to make little movements with the fingers and the toes. Bend your knees and bring your feet flat. And start to roll off of the bolster onto the right side. And just breathe a full breath in here and a full breath out. Inhale as you push the top palm into the earth to rise to seated. You can keep the eyes closed for just a moment and take a deep, full breath in, feeling where you are. Feeling the release of the muscles and the relaxation of the muscles in the body. Deep breath out. We're going to come into child's pose. So you're going to bring your bolster, your pillows, to the other end of the mat. Bring a blanket and unfold it so it can be a little bit wider than the mat. And then you can bring your bolster onto the blanket a little bit if that feels good for you. Bring your knees to the outer edges of the mat and your big toes together. And then start to slowly come onto the bolster. Bringing your right face cheek to the bolster. I'll let you know when it's time to switch sides. Sink your feet a little bit closer to your heels if that's accessible. Relax in the neck and the shoulders. And then switch onto the left face cheek. Keep the relaxed shoulders down the back. Keep releasing any tension you may be aware of. Start to bring your awareness back into your breath, back into the moment that you're in. Make little movements with the fingers and the toes. And then when you're ready, as you're ready, taking your time, you can push yourself up with your palms. We're going to come into supported pigeon pose. So if you have more than one bolster or pillow, you can grab that. You can always just do it with one. So you're going to bring your bolster perpendicular to the mat, and then bring it about to the middle of the mat, and then bring your right knee up towards the top of the mat and open up your right foot as parallel to your right knee as you can, and then sink your hips back onto the bolster. So it's a very supportive way to do pigeon pose. And then I want you to look back at that back leg and make sure that it's straight coming out from the hip. And then just hold here for a moment, lifting the crown of the head up and finding length in the spine. And then as you're ready, you can start to lower yourself down. If you have a bolster, a block, a blanket that you can prop your head up on, that would be ideal to find a restful place so that your forehead can be supported. You can stretch your hips out in a very supportive way. Deep, full breath in. Deep, full breath out. Deep, full breath in. Deep, full breath out. And just begin to breathe normally, letting the breath flow in and out. Letting the body feel relaxed and the mind feel calm. Start to deepen the breath. Start to gently move the fingers and the toes. And when you're ready, taking your time, start to slowly push yourself up. The easiest way to get out of this pose is just to come off of the bolster onto the right hip and then just switch the legs out, bringing the left leg, the left knee forward in front of the bolster and then sliding back so your hips are supported, bringing the hands to the earth, looking towards that back leg to make sure it's straight coming away from the hip. Inhale as you lengthen the spine. Exhale. Inhale, opening up the heart a little bit more. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale, and then slowly come down. This side might feel a little different than the other side, so honoring that. Maybe you don't go as deep into it. Maybe you don't come as far down. Maybe you need a little bit more support. Listening to your body and what it needs. Letting the hips feel heavy. Letting the bones feel heavy. Releasing in the neck and the jaw. Start to bring your awareness back into your breath. Start to make little movements with the fingers and the toes. And when you're ready, taking your time, you can come off of the bolster, coming onto the left hip, and then come back onto your mat. Bringing the bolster over to the right side at hip height. It's off of the mat onto the right side. Coming into Supta Ardha Matsyendrasana. So you're going to make sure that bolster's in the right spot, and you may have to adjust things depending on how tight or loose you are on one side. So extend your right leg out onto the mat. Bring your left knee into your chest and give it a hug in. And then start to twist your left knee over to the bolster. Maybe your left shoulder is coming off of the mat a little bit. So you bring that left shoulder onto a blanket so it feels a little bit more grounded. Letting the shoulder blades release. Letting the neck and the jaw release any tension. Letting the gaze be closed or soft. Start to bring your awareness back into your body, back into your breath. Take a deep, full breath in and a deep, full breath out. And then start to make little movements with the fingers and toes. Taking your time. Start to slowly roll over onto your back. You can move the bolster over to the left side. Extend your left leg long. Bring the right knee into the chest. And then bring that right knee over to the bolster. Again, if your shoulder feels like it's not supported, not grounding onto the mat, you can bring some support underneath it with a blanket. Your arms can be out to the sides. The gaze can be straight up to the ceiling or over the right arm or palm. Release and relax where you can. Releasing the muscles. Releasing the shoulders.
Start to bring your awareness back into your breath, back into the body. Make little movements with the fingers and the toes. And then if you had anything underneath your shoulder, you can remove that and roll over onto your back. Roll over to the right side. Push your top palm into the earth to rise to sitting. If you have blocks, great. If you don't have blocks, also totally fine. So I'm going to move into Shavasana. You're going to bring your blocks a little less than mat width apart. If you don't have blocks, just put your pillow or your bolster directly onto the mat. This is a really good pose for your lower back. So bring your legs on top of the bolster, whether you have the blocks underneath it or not. And then let your knees and your toes rotate outward. So you're not holding on, you're not gripping into any muscles, you're just relaxed, fully into this pose. Letting your head be heavy, letting the bones of your body feel heavy. And then see if you can become aware of any other part of your body that may still be holding onto tension. For me, I just noticed that my shoulders were still a little tense. It's where I tend to hold most of my tension in my body. So just see if you can soften into any more places in your body that may need to just relax in this moment.
Start to breathe deeply in through the body and out through the body. Take another deep breath in and another deep breath out. Start to bring gentle movement into the fingers and the toes. You can sway your head from side to side along the mat. And taking your time, whenever you're ready, bringing your knees into your chest, giving yourself a hug, feeling gratitude for taking this time for yourself. And then roll over to the right side, taking a breath here to pause. Deep, full breath in, feeling the support beneath you. Deep, full breath out. Inhale, keeping the eyes closed or the soft gaze down towards the earth. You can start to push your top palm into the earth to rise to seated. It was such a joy to be here with you today to lead you through this restorative practice. It is such a beautiful practice and a way to connect and to be still and to tap into what you really need and the ways that you can take care of yourself and the ways that you can stay present in the moment that you're in. Namaste. I hope you have a great rest of your day or your evening, and I'll see you soon on the mat.